Hi, I am talking to you guys again from Respectful Parent. I'm Kelly, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we problem solve dental angst today. Today was rough, guys. It was a rough parenting day. So I'm going to talk about it. I have permission from my son to talk to you about it in some detail. But he woke up this morning with a filling hanging out. So we had an emergency trip to the dentist. I didn't have time to take my daughter to school, who's 5, so I had to take her with me. So we got there, and he had just been to the orthodontist yesterday, so there was a lot going on. Dentist visits are never super easy in our house. But we went to the dentist, and it was a different dentist because it was the on-call dentist. It was a different hygienist or assistant that was helping him, so he didn't know them. Trust is big for him. And he didn't understand the process. He didn't understand what was going on. So they told him kind of what they were going to do when they got there, but he was taking in a lot, taking in, and he got a little bit overwhelmed. They got him laying down in the chair. He was a little anxious, but nothing, I wasn't too concerned at that point, but they started giving him the gas to fill the cavity, and he started really getting upset, really kind of freaking out. Said it was choking him, real upset. Eventually just ripped it off and got out of the chair, and the dentist didn't, he said, like, well, what do you want to do? You can wait until Monday, you can go to your regular dentist, or we can fix it now, but I'm running out of time. So there were some time constraints here. The dentist had other patients that he needed to see. And so there was some pressure, and I was doing my best to resist and let this problem work it out and trust the process. But the reality was the dentist had to go in a few minutes, and he hadn't made a decision about what he wanted to do. He could either have it done or he could hurt all weekend. So I stepped in a little bit and said, okay, dentist, how much time do we have? And he said, he needs to make a decision within probably 3 minutes. And that stressed him out. He didn't have enough time to process. So I said, okay, instead of letting all the pressure from the dentist and the hygienist and son freaking out, daughter starting to cry, lots of input for me, I just took a deep breath and I said, okay, what are other options? Are there any other options today? And he let me go check. So they went, they checked their calendar. We waited outside for 15-20 minutes. I took my son outside and I said, okay, so what is it you need here? What's the problem? I said, it doesn't sound like you really want to wait until Monday. Otherwise you probably wouldn't be so upset. He goes, no, I don't want my tooth to hurt all weekend. I don't want my tooth to hurt all weekend. And I said, and then he said, but I'm really scared. I said, okay, so you're scared, but you do want to get it fixed. And he said, yes. And I said, okay, so how are we going to do that? And he said, well, it feels like it's choking me when I breathe. I need to be able to breathe through my mouth a couple of times. And I said, okay, well, that sounds reasonable. So the problem is you could breathe through your nose, but you wanted to breathe with your mouth also. And he goes, yes, I need to breathe in through my nose, but I want to breathe out through my mouth. To me, that sounded reasonable because I think that's how you breathe it in anyway. So he came up with his own plan, and he said, I want to do this. I want to breathe in 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I want to take 2 breaths with my mouth. So we took this plan to the dentist when he came back to see what we were going to do. And the dentist said, that's fine. He can do that. So we went back there, and they said, okay, well, we still have an hour. So they gave him the option. And he said, yeah, I want to wait the hour. So we went to lunch. I took my daughter to lunch. I called my husband, like, you gotta come get my daughter. She's 5 years old. She can't stay there for another hour. It was too much for me. So I was able to relieve some stress from myself. He was able to figure out his own plan. We went back to the dentist, and he did it. He got his cavity filled. He laid there. He got a little bit upset a couple of times. Once he went back there and we were able to explain to the dentist and hygienist that the problem was he felt like he couldn't breathe through his mouth, they actually put the gas over his mouth and there was no problem whatsoever. So what I did there was called, in parent effectiveness training land, is called problem solving. So you identify the needs. His need was more time and to not hurt over the weekend. So he knew what he needed to do. It was just too much pressure. He just needed a little space We went outside, changed his environment, let him get a little bit out. There's an alcove out there, some fresh air, some nature, and he calmed himself down. I didn't have to do a whole lot except figure out what his need was and let him think through that by listening to him and not telling him what to do. Because the more you force him into his own solution, the more he's going to resist and the less he's going to trust the dentist the next time. So I was happy with it. It was exhausting, I'm not going to lie. Challenging when it was happening because there's so much stimulus coming in. But he solved his own problem on his own. I didn't tell him what to do. I didn't force him to go to the dentist. I didn't force him to hurt all weekend. He got to think through it. So he got to take ownership of his own problem, which helped him gain confidence. Now he knows he can do it. So when we have to go on this orthodontic route, he's not going to be so stressed. He's going to be okay. So he was able to see it through, and he conquered a fear. I supported him, but I didn't fix. He did it himself. So that was how we problem solved our dentist problem. I hope that helps you. Kids that have trouble with the dentist, kids that have a little anxiety, the more you let them think through it themselves, the more they can take ownership of it and calm down. All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks.